Alright, nothing official yet, but as the Caribbean Series semifinals are about to get underway, word is they are inviting Japan Breeze back for the 2026 edition. That oddball, non-Caribbean team that made its debut at this Caribbean Series. I was hoping this would just be a one-off thing, something we could all look back on and say, wow, what a crazy year that was. Well, it's not crazy, it's the start of something really silly. Word is that the next countries to get an invite will be Korea and Italy. I don't know what team from Korea and Italy. I'd imagine Korea's team will be something like Japan Breeze, players not affiliated with any KBO or MLB organization, seeing as KBO is just getting started with spring training at this time, and MLB hasn't even started yet. The Italian team, I don't know, could be the previous summer's champion, could be a Serie A All-Star team. That'd be almost like a national team but with mostly Italian-born players. And it would be a good practice tournament for them before next year's WBC. If you think this sounds like a dumb idea, you're not alone. I don't like this at all, and so far I haven't found anyone who thinks this is a good idea. If you think it sounds interesting, let us know why in the comments. To me, the idea of inviting Asian and European teams to an event that's been exclusively for Caribbean countries for over 70 years, and even has Caribbean in the name, is ridiculous. It sounds like a joke. When I heard about them possibly inviting an Italian team, right away it made me think of the Asia Series. If you don't know, the Asia Series was a club championship played between 2005 and 2013. The champions from NPB, KBO, and CPBL faced each other for the title of Asian Champion. The ABL champion from Australia later joined, and in the final edition in 2013, an Italian ball club participated. Fortitudo Bologna was the reigning European Cup champions, and I guess they figured they'd have the European champion, the Australian champion, and the champions of the big three Asian leagues. So the best from three continents, making it kind of a World Series. But it seemed odd having a European club there. Sure, Australia's not in Asia either, but close enough. The Australian team didn't really seem out of place, just the Italian team. But I understand why they got invited. The Asian Series was desperate. The whole series was a failure. Japan won the first 4 editions, which were all held in Japan, and no one in Japan really cared for it. Taiwan hosted a couple later editions, but by that time it was already on life support. By 2013, they needed to try something different to try and save an event that was unpopular from the moment it first began. But that is not the situation the Caribbean Series is in. It's one of the most prestigious baseball tournaments in the world. They just set an attendance record last year, and they're in a part of the world where they can have 10 countries, all from the Caribbean region, and they're all competitive in a tournament against each other. Why on earth are they shunning neighboring countries that could all bring quality teams to the series, and opting for teams from totally outside the region that can't keep up with the 4 permanent member Caribbean Series countries of Mexico, Dominican Republic, Puerto Rico, and Venezuela? I understand the participation fee may be keeping countries out. Colombia, Panama, Nicaragua, Cuba, and Curacao don't have a lot of money to burn through. Best solution would be to lower the fee, let more teams in. The last 2 Caribbean Series were wildly popular. A big reason for that is more countries than usual were participating. If they're not willing to do that, then just keep it a 4-team series like they used to do not too long ago. At least then we'd know that every game would be something to look forward to, since the 4 countries are so evenly matched. They accomplished nothing by inviting Japan Breeze. The team is made up of mostly guys who never made it to NPB and dropped out of the minors after a couple years. Maybe they thought it makes the series look like a higher level of competition on the surface. Because of the Caribbean Series practice of dropping the club name and just going by the country name, Japan Breeze is simply known as Japan here. And Japan is the #1 country in the world in baseball. But no one's being fooled here. Everyone knows this isn't a real Japan team. If they thought this could make the Caribbean Series a thing in Japan, I'm sorry to tell them it's not working. It's not even available to watch anywhere in Japan. It's not covered by any major media outlet. It's not being talked about on social media. No one's really aware that there's a tournament going on in the Caribbean, and a Japanese team is playing in it. And now they're talking about adding Korea and Italy to the mix. I guess one good thing for the 4 permanent members, they're now far more likely to reach the semifinal round. Maybe it didn't sit well with them having the guest teams win the Caribbean Series in 2015, 2019, and 2022. That's a lot less likely to happen now, though it could really backfire on them if they do lose to one of their new guest teams. If they were embarrassed by losing to Panama and Colombia, imagine what it'll be like if they fall to a bunch of guys that can't even get into the NPB minors. It's also been said, I don't know if this is true or not, but people have said, that the Caribbean Series sees the Baseball America's Champions League as a rival series, like they feel threatened by it. And that would make sense. The Champions League just started, and the Caribbean Series all of a sudden starts getting really weird. There's really nothing to worry about though. As I said in a video the other day, the Champions League is for summer leagues, the Caribbean Series is for winter leagues, and the Caribbean Series has the upper hand between the two, because they've got all the best winter leagues right there in their own region, and they're all available to play. The Champions League will never be able to get Major League Baseball and the big three Asian leagues involved, so it can never really measure up to the Caribbean Series. If the Caribbean Series really wanted to be the biggest international baseball club championship in the world, and remain that way for good, all they have to do is nothing. It's always been the biggest of its kind, and the last few years it got even bigger, with up to 9 countries participating. But they're messing it all up. First by getting rid of Cuba, Nicaragua, Panama, Colombia, and Curacao, then by letting in uncompetitive teams from way outside the Caribbean. Whatever their reason for doing it, they're now looking pretty ridiculous to the rest of the world. Perhaps there are other reasons. Is it the participation fee keeping the other Caribbean countries out? Or is there something else going on? Why are they inviting non-Caribbean countries to the Caribbean Series? To spite the countries now participating in the Series of the Americas? To compete with the Baseball Americas Champions League? To build it up into something bigger than the Caribbean, like a true World Series or something? I'm a big fan of the Caribbean Series, that is, the action on the field. I'm not always up to date on what's happening behind the scenes. If you know something I don't, please mention it in the comments. All I can see is a great annual tournament that had everything going for it, suddenly plagued by some seriously bad decisions. By the way, I should also stress that I don't blame Japan Breeze for accepting the invitation. Any other team in their situation would do the same. It's good experience for them, and a chance to prove themselves. Guys that are having trouble getting back into the NPB system have a chance to show what they can do versus teams full of players belonging to major league organizations and independent leagues. It's good for them. And I won't blame a Korean or Italian team if they accept the invite. Just like if the Holland Series champion was asked to take part in the KBO postseason, it would be great for the Dutch team, but everyone would be wondering what on earth the KBO is thinking. That's what it looks like with the Caribbean Series right now. It's not the ones accepting the invite who look silly, it's the ones extending the invitation. But like I said at the beginning, nothing official yet. Maybe they'll realize it's a bad idea and give up on it. These sort of proposals don't always reach the finish line. Remember a year ago at this time we were certain that Curacao was going to be competing independently in the WBC. By the end of the year we learned that the Kingdom of the Netherlands would remain a united team. So maybe there's still hope for the Caribbean Series. It's still the best winter baseball event you'll ever find. And it's been that way for a long time. I wish more people around the world followed this event. But the things they're trying now won't help. It'll only hurt the image they've built up the last 7 decades. Anyway, that's just what I think. Let us know what you think down in the comments. That's all for this one, and until next time, this is Baseball International. See ya!